Welcome back, this is Brian, and this week we'll be unboxing two devices from Link Phones Center Limited, which is the Redmi A3 and the Redmi A3X. Now, I did receive both phones to be able to unbox them and check them out for you. We'll just fast forward it, and both boxes are similar. Now, these phones do have a lot of similarities. If you're curious, the website is going to be this one that I've put in the screenshot, and you are also able to compare both phones as well. As you can see, we have a nice comparison tool that you're able to check them out with. Now, I'm going to start with the A3X because the X seemingly implies that it is a special version. However, the phones are pretty similar across the board, with them sharing a lot of similar features. So the only difference being the chipset on both phones. With the A3X, it comes in with a 22nm chipset, and the A3 comes in with a bit of a newer 12nm chipset. Now, unboxing the phone is a fairly simple, easy process. You just cut the paper, and there's no actually tabs to cut, which actually took me by surprise because most phones have a tab that you have to cut. These ones don't. You just slide it from the side and the phone pops up. Voila. Now, at the very top, you're going to find the phone listed with its various specs. As you can see, it's going to say 6.71 inch 90Hz display, an AI dual camera, and a massive 5000 milliamp hour typical battery, a secure fingerprint with face unlock, and a powerful octa-core processor. Now, the phone did surprise me by coming in with some extra items like a charging brick. This is rated at 10 watts of charging, and it does provide you with a cable as well, with this phone accepting Type-C, which is the more newer standard compared to micro USB from previous iterations of phones. Now, we're just going to go ahead and take it out so you can see the USB Type-C cable. And now, some of the specs that I'll read out of the phone is it does come with 3 gigs of RAM, a 64 or 128 gigabyte spec version. It has Corning Gorilla Glass 3 protection with a 720p display with a density of 268 pixels, which is actually a pretty decent amount. You do get the option of dual SIM, and it also accepts a microSD card as well, so you can expand that storage should you always need to expand storage, with the card and such. Now, the phone does come with a 90Hz refresh rate. That means that whenever you're going to move things across the screen, it is going to be buttery smooth, and we're going to do that phone peel. Listen to this. Now, the size of that display did take me by surprise because of how big it is. Now, a 6.71 inch display is not something to joke about. That is close to 6.8 inches. Now, the phone setup did take a bit of a while. You'll see me fast forwarding until I'm able to see the Hello logo, which takes at least on average 2 minutes with this phone, and you're able to set the phone up. Now, setting up the phone is a fairly easy process. You can skip all the processes. You're not necessarily required to be able to do any specific steps, and you'll just see me go through them. You select your language. You have a couple of user agreements to accept with all phones, obviously asking you to agree to its terms and conditions before you're able to use it. Now, I'll speak on some more specs as I continue through this. The cameras are a 5 megapixel at the front, which is an f2.2, and at the back you do get what they call a dual AI camera, with the main camera actually just being an 8 megapixel camera, similar to the style of the Xiaomi 14 Ultra, which is actually a very premium phone that hopefully I'll be able to feature on this channel very soon. Now, just a couple of basic settings that we have to go through: choose your wallpaper and pretty much everything else as well. I'll fast forward this process because it also did take a bit of a while as I look at the phone and just kind of have a feel for it. And here we are, we're on the home screen. Now, this is pretty smooth, but it's set to only 60 Hz from the box, so you have to dive into the settings to be able to change that. I was just mostly checking out the camera. That's the 8 megapixel f2.2 just to take a photo of the mat, and also some more things to accept. Now, as you can see, the capture time is fairly decent. It doesn't make a lot of noise whenever you're taking photos, so it's not going to alert people when you're taking photos here and there. And as you can see, it has actually some pretty decent detail. I'm just going to dive through into the menus as well just to see how the phone is. I typically have not used a Xiaomi phone. I'm used to Samsung's, but this is actually fairly easy and simple to set up. Now, this phone, as I said, is pretty similar to the A3, which only has a difference of chipsets, but the phone is a pretty good deal and is available on the website. Should you feel you want to compare them, the comparison tool is available, and it is a pretty nice phone from my experience. I like the styling, I like the feel, I like everything about it for the most part, and I can definitely recommend it. So check it out on our website, and thank you so much for tuning in.